Hi everyone, my name is Natty Turtledove, and today we're just going to be touching base on the Power Platform Pipelines feature that is now generally available. I did do a video a couple of months ago on the preview feature, although I never ended up publishing that video. I think I just ran out of time. But anyways, we're just going to touch base and just run a quick recap on what the pipelines are, how to set them up, and see them in action in GA. So how awesome is that? So the first thing that we need to do is head over to our admin center, where we're going to start creating our specific environments to our ALM process. So we're going to create either a developer environment, a QA, UAT, or prod. Me personally, I've got 4, my developer, QA, UAT, and prod. You can have 3, whatever works best for you. But in our production environment, that's where our solution for Power Platform Pipelines needs to exist in. We're going to head over to resources, D365 applications, and if you haven't installed it already, you go click on install applications, or scroll at the bottom and you'll find it there. But as you can see, I've already installed it over here as it's running in my environment. Awesomeness. So now that it's installed in my environment, let's head over to my internal prod environment. And we should have a model-driven app called Deployment Pipeline Configuration. And on this application, we'll start entering all the details for our environments that are going to be used in our pipelines. We're going to create the pipeline, etc. We're going to select what are target environments, what are developer environments, and so forth. And then we're going to start using it. So the first thing that we need to do is head over to our pipeline setup to environments. And this is where we'll add our specific ALM environments. Important note that the environments do need to be managed environments now that it is GA. So if we click on new, which I'm not going to do now, but for instance, if we go to our internal sandbox, that's where I do my development. This is a dev environment. You paste in your environment ID and validate it to show that it's a success or fail, etc. And the reason why we're saying it's a development environment is that's where all our dev is going to work. However, if we go through to something like our UAT, QA, or prod, those are going to be our target environments because that is where our deployment is going to effectively go to later on. And again, we're going to paste our environment IDs and validate it to make sure that it's successfully validated the environment exists. Once we have created our environments within the deployment application, we can head over to our pipeline side and we can start creating a deployment pipeline. So I've got 2 over here. I've got one for my internal use and I've got one called a test pipeline. So let's use my internal development one because it's already there. But we'll create a new one. We'll give it a name and then we'll create or link a development environment. And when we say link a development environment, we're specifically referring to our dev environment that we specified over here in this section, because that's where all our development is going to happen. So we're going to say add existing, and I've already added my internal sandbox over there, which you can see is nice over there. And now we need to go and add in our development stages. So stages going from dev to QA to UAT to prod. And starting with our QA, we'll add a new one. I'm just going to edit this quickly because why not? Oopsies. Yes, there we go. We're going to call it QA. Our development pipeline, our deployment pipeline is going to be our internal development pipeline. Our previous stage, because nothing else exists before QA except for dev, there's no other deployment happening before then, it's going to remain blank. And our target environment will be our QA environment. And the same will happen with our UAT and prod. So for instance, if we go to prod, all the details are the same, given it a name. Our pipeline is assigned there, and our previous stage is our UAT stage because we're going from UAT to production. And again, we're assigning our target environment to be prod. Awesome. So now that we've set up our pipelines, it's time to actually use them. So let's head over into one of my solutions in my internal sandbox. Let's take my budgeting app because why not? Well, what's in here? It's just a Canvas app. I don't even remember. It's just a Canvas app. Okay, well, it would be nice to have a variable, but I'm not going to go playing around now anyways. So if we click on the little rocket icon there called pipelines, or we could even do it directly through the solution details over here and say deploy. It will bring us to our deployment stage. We can select what pipelines we're going to use, but let's go through a nifty side over here where we've got a nice UI and UX visual. Let it load. We can then select between whether we want to go to internal or our test pipeline. This failed, this was my bad, but let's see if it works again now. So we're going to deploy our version 1.0.0.2, which is going to become 3 now, into our QA environment. So let's click on deploy. And now if you had any connection roles, environment variables within your solution, it would ask you to complete them over here as well. Make sure that the connections exist before going into the environment, or fill in the environment variables and so forth. So because it's just a Canvas app in this one, so not the greatest example to be working with, nevertheless, let it load and just run and load and run. Awesome, perfect. So we can see that it managed to actually compile it great, and we're going to be running a version 1.0.0.3. If we say deploy, it's going to start deploying our solution through to our QA environment. And now what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to pause this video because I don't think you all want to just sit here and watch the little thingy spin while deploying to our QA environment. Let's hit pause quickly. Okay, perfect. So it deployed to version 1.0.0.4, and the reason why that happened was because when I deployed to 0.3, I hadn't realized that I already deployed this solution in another demo, and I'd used the ALM accelerator, so all my versioning went out. So that's why it failed the first time. That's why we're sitting at version 4 over here. But if we head over to our environment, let's just go over there, double check, make sure it exists. While that's loading, we're going to do the exact same thing, and you can see now we can go through to our UAT sites. We've got our QA, which is successfully done. If we wanted to do a version 1.0.0.5, we can deploy to QA again, or we can go ahead and deploy to UAT. So let's start that process while our QA environment is loading. And then we'll say deploy. The joys of slow internet. Awesome. So let's deploy to UAT. While that's deploying, let's head over to our UAT environment. We're going to go over to our solutions. And because I've deleted the solution from here previously with the ALM versioning, we've got our Power Platform Pipelines versioning over here. And there's our budget solution with our Canvas app over here. And you can see it's also deployed it through as a managed solution, which is awesome. Let's close it up. I'm going to pause the video now just to go through from UAT to prod, because I don't think you want to see going from dev, QA, UAT, and prod. It's just a waste of time. But ultimately, that's how the entire process will happen. So let's pause and we'll reconvene in a few seconds. Perfect. So we successfully deployed to our UAT, which actually happened a bit quicker than expected. And I've already started the deployment to our prod. But while we're at it, let's just go look at our UAT environment. So we'll close all of these in the meantime. And if we go over to our solutions, again, we should be able to see our budget app as a solution. 1 minute ago, as a managed solution, we go into it, and we should be able to see our Canvas app sitting over there. And again, if we were to be doing this with any other environment variables, flows, connections within the solution, you'll be asked to either create those, fill them in, or reference them when doing a deployment. So awesome, we made it through into our UAT, and we've deployed to production as well. How awesome is that? So let's go over to our prod environment. And this is where our pipelines solution is also hosted, because it's in our internal prod, our host environment, which is awesome. And if you go to solutions, we can see it's over there. So great, we've actually successfully deployed from dev, QA, UAT, and prod using the Power Platform pipelines. It's as easy as that, as you can see. And one of the other cool benefits about using Power Platform pipelines is if we head over to our solution again in the Mobile Driven app, we can view our entire run history with what pipelines were used, what runs were created, etc., where our environments, what our target environments were, and who triggered what, as well as every single time we deploy a full cycle, we can actually see our solution artifacts as solutions of files. So you can see we've got our budget app at 1.0.0.4, and if we open that up, we can actually download it. So how awesome is that? Some really other cool features are coming through to the Power Platform pipelines, which have been announced. So let's head over to the post. One of the really cool things that I'm super excited for is scheduled deployments. That makes it so much easier to be able to deploy during hours where you don't have people utilizing applications or your services to try to slow things down. And something really nifty is the extensibility, being able to integrate with Power Automate and using stuff like approvals to approve deployments and so forth, and trigger certain events to happen during deployments before or after. The amount that we can do with that is going to be absolutely phenomenal. So there we go. That's a quick touch up on Power Platform pipelines, now generally available. I hope you enjoyed this video. Stay tuned for more ALM content. I'm doing stuff on ALM, I'm doing stuff on career stuff, I'm doing on adoption as well, which is going to be exciting. So keep a lookout for my posts on LinkedIn. Feel free to follow me on LinkedIn, Twitter, GitHub. So I've got some cool solutions on the PMP community stuff there. And yeah, cheers for now.